And hello and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. Good to see you all. I got a haircut, so that's very exciting for me. It's weird. Every time I get a haircut, there's less of it. There's not as much on top. But unfortunately, that's my problem, not yours. So let's get right into it. First off, I want to say thank you to Rumble. Been doing great for me and have been featuring me a lot. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all the support there. But let's talk about what's going on this week in the news, and we'll get right into it. So Fox News, Kevin McCarthy is the lead story here. He's on the banner headline at the top of the page. Kevin McCarthy's humorous response to reporters' questions about eating dinner with Hunter Biden. Okay, well, let's talk about what's going on. McCarthy is now the head of the House, so to speak. Pelosi's gone because they lost the House. Anyway, and so now we're actually going to see some investigations into Hunter Biden and to Joe Biden, really tangentially. I mean, we all know Hunter Biden's a mess. It's not like, what are we going to uncover about Hunter Biden that we don't already know from the, now true, there's always been true, the now true laptop, that the media finally admitted, that 2 years ago we tried to swing the election and actually did swing the election in favor of Joe Biden by, censoring and leaving out and calling misinformation anything that made him look bad and could help him or hurt him in the polls, rather. Now that that's all over, a couple years behind us, sure, it was all real. Oh, scumbags. That is just, it's horrible. That is literally affecting the outcome of our presidential election by knowingly either suppressing things that go against the candidate, your chosen candidate, and you're supposed to be an objective media, or just flat out calling what you can't control the that's already out there, calling it false, and doing that. But sorry, Kevin McCarthy anyway is the new obviously the head of the House, Speaker of the House. And so we've got a situation now where these things are going to be investigated. And again, it's not Hunter Biden. Who cares? The guy is what the guy is. He's got a lot of problems, a lot of issues. But the big thing is Biden, Joe Biden, the big guy. Remember the big guy? Remember that? Remember Trump, the big guy? And everyone's like, oh, that's Russian collusion. No, it wasn't. 10% to the big guy. Joe Biden, hello. Everything on the laptop is true, except what are they going to pick and choose now? What is and what isn't? Like, oh, no, everything's there. Everything's real. I know we said everything's real, except that. Someone must have put that in. They didn't. It's all real. And so Joe Biden was getting money. He was getting kickbacks, essentially, and from Hunter in exchange for, obviously, influence. It's influence peddling. That's what it is. So Hunter says, hey, my dad is the vice president at the time all this was going on, and he will help you out. He will grease the wheels. But we want to cut. That's it, pure and simple. And it's illegal. It should be. And then but it's, you get frustrated. What's the point? The media is the mainstream media is so corrupt. So it's horrific. They are accusing Trump of Russian collusion for 4 years, all of it unfounded, but literally went 4 years with it because they just hated the guy so much because he beat him at their own game. He got elected when they had pre-chosen who was supposed to be president. They had decided, not us. That Hillary was supposed to be president. And oh God, what a glorious moment that was in American history. How happy were you on election eve when I thought, oh, Trump's done, because the media had just been like pounding him and told us that Hillary was going to win. And then Trump won. And you're just like, oh my God, wow. And to have that moment and then be able to watch the liberal media meltdown. Oh, that crescendoed what was already pretty awesome. Yes. But they got their revenge, right? 4 years of just slaughtering the man, all unfounded. Again, Russian collusion, all made up. Sorry. I know you did 4 years on it and y'all ate popcorn, the liberals, while you watched it on MSNBC and CNN, but it was all made up. Wasn't real. Biden, on the other hand, in front of the cameras, in front of a lot of cameras, it talked about how he was essentially blackmailing, I think it was Ukraine, for his son Hunter, who was working on Burisma and was being investigated by a prosecutor in the Ukraine for corruption. And Biden basically said, well, I'm not going to give you, my flight leaves in X number of hours. And if this prosecutor isn't off my son's case, you're not getting any of this money that we were promising you. in front of cameras, and then laughed about it. And then laughed about it. And then nothing from the old Joe. He's blackmailing the government into getting his son off. Oh, Joe. This is the corrupt mainstream media that we have currently. But here's the beauty of it. And it is beautiful. Things are changing. It's a dynamic that the media can't control, which is great. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it especially right now on CNN, who is having to wholesale cut jobs, let people go. Well, let's ask, why do they have to let people go? Because they have lost through 4 years of this whole Russian collusion coverage and just the complete devotion to fake news and essentially just being propagandists for the Democrat Party. They have lost any credibility, any shred of credibility that they ever once had. It's gone. It's out the window. And so who's turning into CNN? Nobody. Nobody's turning into. The ratings are in the toilet. They're horrible. They're firing all their Stelter's going, and Lemon, I don't know, he's still hanging around, but they bumped his shift. Cuomo, all these idiots, liars for the libs, for the liberal party, the Democrats, are now gone or have had their ratings tamped down even further than their already low beginnings. And it's justified because nobody wants to tune in to be lied to. In this case, even liberals. Liberals, I think, did. I don't think a lot of them were aware of it, that it was happening at the time with the whole Russian collusion thing, the Trump. They just hated him so much. Like, oh, yeah, he did it. And then suddenly they're like, wait a minute. Oh, you lied to us for 4 years? I mean, we still hate Trump. Don't get me wrong. But you lied to us about it? And they lost them too. I mean, it's like they'll tune in, but it's like when you tune into a news station and you're being lied to, something's happening in your head where you just got to be like, I know they're lying to me. I know I can't trust anything they're saying, but I mean, they support my party, but I know what I'm getting is not actually accurate information. And at some point that bothers you enough to where you just turn the channel off. And that's where CNN is right now. Even their liberal supporters know at the end of the day, what they're getting is pure propaganda. And, it's great to go to a pep rally once in a while, but you're not going to turn it on every day. Especially when you got real problems like sky high inflation, so you can't afford to get your kids the Christmas gifts, that they want, or the crazy crime in our cities, the massive illegal immigration push that especially affects people on our southern borders, and that that's just a Democrat voter drive right there. But yeah, so they're sucking wind now, and justifiably so. And so yeah, Kevin McCarthy with Hunter Biden. My fear in it, because I know that the liberals, the people in charge of the Democrat Party, and that's not Joe Biden, know Biden's a liability. They know he's completely inept. We all do. But the Democrats just put up with it, like they did Fetterman when they elected Fetterman. The hell was that? And they're slowly, I think, going to try and cajole him out. I mean, you in my head again, it's just the madness of the left. You're like, well, clearly, even if Biden ran again, there's no way even the liberals, the leftists would vote for him. I mean, he was far gone when he ran the first time. The second time, he's even more gone, in terms of his mental faculties. But I said that the first time. Who would possibly elect this man? He's clearly suffering the early stages of dementia. He's a buffoon. I mean, there's no way he can get and yet they elected him. So you can't put it past the left. You just can't. Speaking of Joe, he's the second story on Fox News. It says lighting a fire. Oil industry exec warns Biden of another major crisis in the next few weeks. Well, this is the issue. Biden doesn't want a healthy energy supply, at least not in the realm of fossil fuels. So he does everything he can, and he makes no bones about it. His first day, he shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Thanks, Joe. Really appreciate that. And then has been basically disallowing or making it very difficult for oil companies to not only drill, but to refine the oil that they do have. We should be energy independent. We should just be able to drill the oil under our feet in this country. We have plenty of oil, and we could even export the remainder, whatever we wanted to, and make some money off it, like the way Russia does. or but no, the left doesn't want it. They refuse to have it because they need or they want to push this green energy. And there's nothing wrong with green energy. I have no problem with green energy, but let the market determine how much of it or how little of it we're going to use. And I think over time we will move towards green energy. It's inevitable. But to have it forced upon us, to have it crowbarred upon us, to have the fuel supply shut down to make electricity seem less expensive by comparison is idiocy. And who suffers? We do. The government doesn't suffer. Every time they fill up their gas tanks, they're doing it on a taxpayer paid for credit card. They're not spending any money. Think these guys have paid for gas since they've taken office? No, they don't care. We're paying for it, and we're paying for our own. And it's very high because rather than let the market determine the price of gas based on a non-influenced supply and demand, the supply is being very influenced by the left, by the leftist environmentalists. And again, I have no problem with green energy. Great. You want to get an electric car, get an electric car. But the average electric car is what, 40 grand, 45 grand, something like that. And you're just going to go run out and buy one. And then what happens when everyone buys the electric car? Well, now you've got issues with electricity, and the electricity prices spike, and they're already kind of high. And then you look at places like California, where they're mandating that everyone has electric vehicles, or you can only sell electric vehicles in the state by, I think, 2035 or 2030, somewhere in there. And yet, during the latest, heat wave, they asked electric car owners, even though they're not a majority by any stretch yet, to not charge their cars, at certain times because it was going to crash the grid. And this is the same left in California. It's just so nuts that have spent or have budgeted or the budget for the bullet train, this worthless boondoggle. That again, this thing wasn't forced on anybody. It wasn't like they said we're doing this and you don't have any choice. There was a vote. Like people voted to get the bullet train. It was so stupid, even at the time. Like, oh, it's going to run from Los Angeles to San Francisco in, I don't know, 2 hours, something like that, right? And in my head, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to fly. I'm like, it's going to cost you more than a plane ticket. I knew even then it would cost you more than a plane ticket to take this bullet train. And I don't even think they've laid a full mile of track for it yet. Yet it's billions of dollars in the red. It's over, I think, now the budget for it's ballooned to $106 billion at the last check, and this has been out for they've been working on this thing for 7 years. What? And yet people in California voted for, oh yeah, we need that. And then they're also now talking about it's not going to go. It's not even going to go to San Francisco. At last I heard it was going to go from like Bakersfield to Fresno, or like just something, or like maybe LA to Bakersfield, something like that. Like, what's $106 billion between friends? It's madness to me. It's absolute madness. And yet the most frustrating part is it's not forced upon us yet. It's not it is a kind of a totalitarian regime, but it's not technically a totalitarian regime where they say, okay, this is happening, you have no say. This, again, people voted for this. People had an opportunity to recall Newsom, this moron who just, along with other people, but heavily helped destroy the city of San Francisco. And rather than be like, oh my God, look what he did to San Francisco. Look how horrible that city is, because it is horrible. Look how terrible that city is. And he wants to run for governor. We're going to elect this guy who ruined the city that he was the mayor of. We're going to elect him the governor of the state. Yeah. You can't make heads or tails of it. And it just goes on and on and on. Yeah, but I live in California, and it's a nut house. Nothing makes sense. Up is down, down is up. I don't live in Los Angeles, thank God, proper, because that's even worse. And again, they could have had Caruso, who's just this brilliant business-minded guy. If you live in the Los Angeles area, you know who he is. He's responsible for just these really just beautiful malls, gorgeous malls, the Grove, down in Los Angeles. I'm forgetting where it is, but it's not like the cross streets if you're not from here, anyways. The Americana in Glendale. I mean, just these really nice high-end malls, very pretty, but he knows how to run a business. He understands profits law. But rather than elect a really smart businessman who could have turned the city around, I genuinely think he could have. They went for a check the box, just quota hire. The mayor, they show, okay, she's African American, she's, I think, non-binary, and then she had like a third. Like, oh, 3 boxes, we have to elect her. I forget what the third one. It does really matter. But I think she was 3 boxes. So it's like that. That's how the decisions get made in liberal cities like California, and or liberal cities like Los Angeles, in states like California. It's just check the boxes. Which person has the most boxes checked? That's the person you need to vote for, regardless of qualifications. And I don't know, the woman who is now the mayor of LA, she's your typical Democrat, so it's nothing's going to get better. At best, the best you can hope for is it stays the same, and I don't think it's going to stay. It's going to just get worse. It's the fact that the party that claims to be against racism does everything and bases every decision solely based on race or sex or whatever is the new fad, gender. And I really think gender has become a fad. It's no longer. I mean, you got male, female. If you want, you can click on other, I guess. But the truth of the matter is, it's just like, I want to be a different. It's like a fad. I'm in this gender. I'm that gender. I'm going to make up this gender. They just had, what was it? The San Francisco, of course. San Francisco is giving out, again, completely racist, or not racist, but sexist, certainly, I guess, kind of. They're giving out only to trans people. Only to trans, like a cost of living adjustment or something like I think $1,000 a month or $1,800 a month for being trans, and not having a lot of money. So it's exclusively limited to that subset, that group. But on the application, because it's not enough to just have a woke program. You have to have a really woke application, and the application is even woker than the program. The application had 138 or 140 different sex choices, orientation choices, pronoun choices. It was just insane. I did a story on it. It's on my Patreon. It's on my jeffahern.com. But it was madness. Like all these different crazy, sexual orientation. A lot of the words just sounded like gibberish, like something Joe Biden would misread off a teleprompter. And so you just, but that's the left. Whatever crazy stuff you write down, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if no one can say it. Doesn't matter if no one's ever heard it before. That's going to be a gender, because you can't question it. You can't question somebody's identity, even if they just made it up 5 minutes ago. Okay. Oh, man. All right. Sick and Twisted. Yeah, that's the title of this one. The Idaho murder victims. That's just crazy. I mean, it's like, that's the stuff of horror movies. It doesn't seem like the police really have a handle on who did it, does it? I mean, they haven't arrested anybody. I don't know who their suspects are, but it just seems like they have really no idea what's happening, and they almost are going to have to just kind of luck into finding the killer. That's what it seems like right now, and that's really scary, because what a monster that's still roaming around, waiting to strike again at some point. It's pretty frightening. All right, let me check out the Post. I love the Post. Oh, well, yeah, this will probably be on the Post too, but the Balenciaga, and I don't know how to pronounce it, and I'm glad I don't. Creative director. This is the kiddie porn guy who, to promote whatever their stupid handbags or whatever their dumb products are that the left loves, the leftist celebrities love. I think they're kind of distancing themselves from the Bondage Bear campaign from Balenciaga. The director has no plans to resign after child porn scandal. Child porn ad scandal. It's like this, but that's the left. They hang on. They're like, I'm not resigning. That's SBF, another big lefty. Sam Berkman-Fried, right? He's not going anywhere either. And you look at these guys, they just cling to their little power. Although, technically Berkman-Fried had a lot of money too. Had, past tense. But they won't go. And who's going to force them out? The left should, like anyone should, but especially the left, since they're the ones who are the purveyors of this pervs merchandise. should be like, no, you got to go. You need to go. But I don't see any of them stepping up. I don't see Kim Kardashian saying, no, you get the hell out the door. You need to leave. Your ad campaign was grotesque, disgusting, and promoted child porn. You need to go. Or Salma Hayek, who I think her husband has a big piece of the brand. I don't hear her demanding this guy resign. Or Nicole Kidman, who's done work for them. I don't hear her demanding he resign. Where's the outrage? You got outrage for Elon Musk? You got plenty of outrage for. Oh, he's allowing free speech on Twitter. He must go. Oh, the kitty porn guy. Yeah, I'd rather not talk about him. Let's talk about Elon Musk. It's this madness. I don't know how else to describe it. The madness of the left. He needs to go. He needs to go now. And people who are involved in that brand, who do not support what this guy did in terms of this basically kiddie porn ad campaign, need to step up and say so. They need to step up and say, you got to leave. What you did is reprehensible, disgusting. And if you don't have a problem with it, you're part of the problem. I mean, it is what it is. Gee, I wonder the Harvey Weinstein thing up here. Gee, I can't believe he lasted as long as he did. Me Too and everybody. Of course, because the leftists never say anything. No, they never try and take down one of their own, especially one of theirs that's got any power or that could help their careers any. And I don't know if I guess not ironic, it's more coincidentally. Jennifer Siebel, who is Gavin Newsom's wife, I guess is currently being accused of lying about sexual assault. I'll tell you right now, I don't like Gavin Newsom at all. I think he's a terrible governor. He's just awful. But Harvey Weinstein's a scumbag of epic proportions. So I would assume he probably did sexually assault this woman. I shouldn't laugh about it, but I mean, the notion that Harvey Weinstein somehow is like, yeah, sexually assault. No, I'll be consensual. It doesn't really fit the profile. Now, did she go there hoping to advance her career? Absolutely. That's sad, but that's her baggage, I guess. Okay, let's check out the Post here. All right, the Post. I love the Post. My favorite paper. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about this. I guess it's because it's more of a New York story. But in the Post, we got these two anchors having this affair for Good Morning America. It's again CBS, I believe. So it's a very liberal network. So yeah, whatever, do what you like. It's not like you're in some bastion of morals over at CBS. So yeah, have your dirty affairs or whatever you want to call them. But I guess the issue is like supposedly they were separated, these two from their spouses, and so they were having this affair, but it wasn't a big deal because they were separated. But apparently, at least for the anchor, the TJ Holmes' wife, said she didn't know anything about it. I don't know. It's all just weird. It's weird, but it's CBS, so it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Mail Gall, GOP Stefanik says Postal Service sold $20,000 in donor checks sent her. That doesn't seem right unless it was just, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's questionable. It's possible, I guess. Did they not deliver it? Stole? Did they deposit it in somebody's account? Maybe some one employee's like, I'm taking this money for myself. And then you got Kanye. I don't know. The guy's a nut. I don't even keep up on what he's saying anymore because it's just all just crazy anti-Semitism, or it's like he used to say stuff to just to outrage and create buzz and spin. And now he's just so far gone. He's just literally out of his mind. And eventually his money's going to run out. His sponsors are distancing themselves from him. He's kind of a poison pill right now. Nobody wants to touch. And at some point, the dude just runs out of money and runs out of fame. And then he's just some crazy guy you wander down the street, just, talking conspiracies. I mean, that's what he is now. He's a crazy guy walking down the street, talking conspiracies, but he's still got some money to wear nice clothes. But that's all going away. I mean, this ain't getting any better unless this guy, gets some serious mental health treatment. It's not getting any better. Oh man. And then I love the Post. This is why I love the Post so much. Russian strongman, Putin, Russian strongman fell downstairs and soiled himself as health speculation grows. I mean, that's the guy, he crapped his pants, fell down the stairs, crapped his pants. Now, Biden's crapping his pants every other day, but at least and he falls downstairs. So technically, this story could be about Biden. He falls upstairs, though, I think, rather than down them. But the headline is what got me. It's the headline of the story: Vladimir Putin. This is another. The only way this Ukraine war ends, and this is why you don't want a dictator. This is why you don't want an autocrat, because literally the only thing that stops them in most cases, unless everyone gets the gumption to finally stand up to them and take them out, is just that they have to just die of natural causes, which seems to be like how this Ukrainian conflict is going to end. Eventually, Putin is just going to die of natural causes, and whoever hopefully is in charge of the Russia after the fact is like, all right, let's get the hell out of here. How many lives are you going to waste? How much money? I mean, what a boondoggle this has been for Russia. And all of this, the entire Ukrainian invasion, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a completely ego-driven move by one man, Vladimir Putin. It's purely based on his ego. I have to have Ukraine. I don't know why he has to have it, but in his head, he has to have Ukraine. Ukraine must become, again, part of Russia. And that's all. That's his one all-consuming thought. It's all that matters to him. It is all this egotistical madman who's in control of this country, because the people of Russia are too scared to stand up to him. How scared to stand up to him are they? They're having to enlist and go to Ukraine and die. I mean, if you're going to die anyways, why don't you get rid of the guy who's getting you killed? Just saying. Not encouraging it, but dear God, how many people have to die for this fool, for this madman? And that's what he is. He's a madman. Whether he craps his pants or not, he's he's a madman. It's a madman who needs depends, I guess. What are you going to do? Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, I don't want to wish death on anyone, but this guy, I think I make an exception. I hope, I hope he's gone. He needs to be gone. It's just terrible. It's just terrible what one person can do to thousands, to millions, because of one person's twisted ideology, because of one person's twisted brain, but because they are in absolute power and have absolute dictatorial control, they can destroy worlds. They can crush everything. And that's why you don't want to give any one person or any one government that much power. That's why you need checks and balances. And that's why it's so maddening and frustrating to watch everyday Americans voted away every election and give more control over the government and give more control over the government and give more. At some point, you've given so much control over the government, you lose the ability to get it back. And then as that happens, the government, which is all powerful now, slowly starts to cannibalize itself a little until it gets smaller and smaller at the top, and there's no checks and balances. So you get a situation where with this guy, where one man like Putin in this case can do this, can cause a war between two countries that result in the deaths of thousands, or if it was really bad, millions. And for what? For his insane ego, for his mad brain. That's why it matters. That's why elections matter. That's why when you vote, you need to vote for freedom. You stop voting because you're so scared to give all your power over to the government because you want them to take care of you. Well, guess what? They're not always going to take care of you. Sometimes they're going to make you go over to some other country and fight in a battle over nothing, over the ego of the leader, of the grand poobah, or whoever it is. And yet every election, I'm talking to liberals, obviously, but every election, you vote away more of your freedoms. You give it more and more to the government, and the government's going to take it. They'll be happy to gobble it up. And eventually, like I said, you get to the point where you can no longer pull back on it, and you no longer have the ability to say no, and you no longer have the ability to be free. And there's no one to blame in this but yourself. If you're the ones voting for the Democrat Party in this situation, now maybe they'll get their act together at some point. But right now they don't. Right now they are the party of lunacy. They are the party of massive government overreach. Look at the shutdowns. What states were beneficial or survived it very well intact? The Republican states, the states that didn't have this massive government overreach, draconian shutdowns and the mask man, all of it. It's not good. Don't turn over your freedoms to the government so willingly because you've been beaten down so much by their media that you're afraid to live your life on your own. But I can't make that decision for you. You got to make it. And you make it every time you go to vote. So maybe next time, vote better. All right. I think I'm going to end on that. I hope you all have a great week. God bless you. Mark says, are we going to be like the Handmaid's Tale? If we keep voting Democrat, I think so. I know that everyone's like, oh, that's Republican. But the whole basis of it is this massive government control of everything. And that's Democrats. Oh, boy. All right. Well, God bless. Have a great week, everybody. And I will see you shortly. Please check me out on Rumble. Check me out on jeffahern.com. Check me out on Patreon. And as always, I'm very heavily censored on YouTube and TikTok. Oh, did you say massive government control and women being slaves? Yeah, I think that's the Democrat platform for the 2024 election. I know. I'm just.
Hello and welcome to Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. If there is such a thing as foot and mouth disease, then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris must have gotten the version where it's their entire leg. With Biden, it's more of a staccato stupidity. Harris prefers a more robust word salad. So allow me to mash up their speeches and see if you can figure out who's who. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democrat candidate for the United States Senate. And we have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. I think that, to be honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled, like poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids, which is why if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black, you lying dog-faced pony soldier. Come on, man. You need to get to the go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home. So you go ahead and stack the spaghetti sauce at a store and a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who runs or brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened? Anyway, Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. But we stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv, but he will never win the hearts of the Iranian people, which is why it's time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women were created by the thing. And America can be defined in one word. Ask the Mafafanahawa. End of quote. Repeat the line. America can be defined in one word. Ask the Hamanafatapa. Let's go, Brandon.